You may or may not be hosting holiday dinner this year, but having foolproof hats to make sure that the meal is delicious is key. So, of course, we called someone to give us the dinner hacks you didn't know you needed. We called Mairlyn Smith. Yeah. That's so good to see you. Listen, you're so at home in the kitchen. It's like you were here, you've been here for the past week. But let's talk a little bit about hosting. Like, do you do the hosting and do you like it?
Yes and yes. And actually, my husband Scott says I live for, Christmas dinner. I actually live for Christmas. I just love it.
Yeah.
I love the whole season. So
you don't get panicked when you know all those people are coming over? You're just like cool as a cucumber?
No.
You're like, no, I'm freaking out, but I like it.
I don't freak out. Sometimes I got a little overwhelmed when I was home in Vancouver when I was cooking for like 26. But now that I'm home in Toronto and cooking for 6 or 8, it's really no big deal.
That's doable.
Yeah, it's really doable.
That's good. And that's Andrew
like
and
catering,
20's catering. At some point, like, get some stuff like bought,
Yeah.
So you're not having to plate 20 meals for people.
Yeah.
But we want to talk a little bit about when things go wrong, okay? You have a little kit that you have with you all the time when you're making dinner so that if things are gonna go sideways, you got backup. What's in the kit?
Okay, be prepared, girl guide. This is my life, okay?
Yes.
So you can pull anything off if you got this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Well, in the kitchen, not in your life. Anyway, so unsalted chicken broth, a couple of extra potatoes. This will all be revealed in the segment why we have this.
Okay.
Unsalted butter, some cream, a meat thermometer, some really strong Parmigiano Reggiano, I like saying that name. A potato ricer, I guess that was a spoiler alert because I said potato.
Ricer.
And a handheld blender, or you could even use like a food processor or a real blender.
Okay, so these are gonna help you.
They are.
When things go wrong.
When they go awry, you're going to need them.
And things go awry. So
Right.
let's get into some of the blenders.
Okay.
So the first blender is you forgot to take the turkey out of the freezer. Uh-oh! That's a big one.
It's horrible,
but
actually.
I can see how it can happen.
Yes.
You're worried about getting gifts. You're worried about decorating. You're worried about cleaning the house.
Right.
And you don't think.
You don't think. And actually, the dinner being the kind of like the big spotlight, really. Okay, so
a lot of pressure.
A turkey this size, if you bought it frozen, would take about 4 days to thaw in the fridge. Don't be thawing this on the counter. I'll come to your house and yell at you. Okay, so in the fridge. Okay, so 4 days, on a drip pan.
Yeah.
So you forgot it's 9 o'clock on the morning, Christmas morning. You had a nervous breakdown, and then you went, Okay, so what you do is you put this.
Is that what you do?
No, I would have been screaming. Anyway, so so you're going to put it in a sink of cold water, okay? And you're going to change the water every 30 minutes because the science for food poisoning is kind of trepidatious. So you want to change that water, cold water. Don't put hot water. Don't put hot water.
I would think maybe put hot water on it so it'll thaw quicker.
Yeah, well, it would, and then you'll all die. So anyway, cold water.
Hot water equals bacteria?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, there's a science. E
hot
equals
water
MC
equals
squared.
die.
Okay, so that's your big one. Okay, so then you thawed it out.
Yes.
So now what do you do?
Well, hold on. How long did that take if I'm
question.
thawing it out in the sink?
7 hours for that one.
So what's it based on?
30 minutes a pound. I heard people sigh.
30 minutes a pound? They're like, well, if you don't have 4 days anymore, you only have a few hours before people come. Okay, so it's still going to be 30 minutes per pound.
Per pound. And, if you had a really big one, you could be eating at midnight. So anyway.
Order pizza.
So then you're going to spatchcock it.
Okay.
Okay, and I
you
love that.
You just really want to say that word.
Thank you for letting me say that word finally.
You want to spatchcock the turkey.
You want to spatchcock your turkey, which means you're going to cut out the breast, the backbone.
Yes.
The knife will work. Do it in the sink. It's a bit of it's hard.
Yeah.
Or this will change your life. These are called Poultry shears.
Okay.
And then you just snip it through. It really is a game changer.
And what's the point?
What's the point?
Why are we?
It's a science project. Well, you're spatchcocking because the physics of it is that more surface area, thinner, will cook faster.
Okay. You don't want a big round ball of meat. You want it to be flat.
You want it to be
so
flat.
You can cook it a little bit easier.
I think I just melted my mascara off. But anyway.
That was hot, huh?
That was hot.
Whoopsies.
Because you're also going to jack it up to 450.
Okay.
And this would take, if it was, totally round, it would probably take 4.5 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
This would cook in an hour and a half to 2.
Oh. Good.
So you cut down the time a
That's a
fair amount.
workaround.
Okay.
That's good. These are good tips.
I love that tip. I think that's a really good one.
Okay. What else has gone wrong?
Gone wrong. You have lumpy potatoes.
Okay.
Now, some of us like lumpy potatoes.
I have no problem with the lumps.
Okay. A lot of people don't like lumps. So this is when you're going to use your potato ricer thing. Where's the spoon? There it is. And you're just going to put before you add the cream and the milk and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You've mashed it and you realize that you didn't do it right. Okay, so you're going to push it through there, and it's going to be and all the stuff that's not cooked is going to stay.
Yeah.
But proactively, had you picked the right potato, this would not even happen.
What's the right potato?
The right potato is either a russet or a yellow or a Yukon Gold.
Yeah.
And it says right on it that they're mashing potatoes.
Yeah.
And then the other proactive tip would be, have them all the same size. That's physics.
That's not going to end well?
No, this is a bad ending.
Okay.
This is like my first marriage. Anyway, okay, so... No, maybe that was the second. Oh, I don't remember. Anyway, okay, so I shouldn't have said that. That was really bad. My filter's off. Anyway,
So now your filter's never on, and that's why we love you. Okay, so now we're doing gravy.
Yes.
But things have gone wrong. What happened?
So salty gravy is kind of the big one everybody asks me about.
It's too salty.
It's too salty.
Because you can make it more salty. You can't make it less.
Well, you can.
That's hard.
It's harder, though. So the proactive one is, and most frozen turkeys have already been brined, so that's sodium.
Yep.
Or if you put salt in your potato water and then you use your potato water. So the proactive is don't put salt in the potato water, and then you can always add it later, okay? So then you've tasted it, it's like, oh. Okay, so this is when you add, there's a lot of ahas on that day. So you've added your unsalted chicken broth, and I've added a little bit of blended flour, and then we're going to add it, and the theory is, here's the science, we're diluting the sodium. But we have to add more flour so that we can thicken it at the same time.
So it's not all watery.
Exactly, okay, or it's like soup. And then the other one, if that doesn't work, you get potatoes in large surface areas, and you're going to pop them into there. And
oh, really?
It will absorb a lot of the sodium. It's like a sponge.
Oh, somebody nice was like, yeah, obviously. What? I've never heard of that in my life.
A lot of people don't know that tip. It's a really old-fashioned one. I like the diluting it better. Okay. And last but not least,
what do we got?
you cook the living heck out of your vegetables, okay? And the proactive thing was that you didn't put them on until you started thinking about carving the turkey.
Right.
So when you start that, then you can get the vegetables. But you didn't do that, so you've overcooked your broccoli, your cauliflower, your Brussels sprouts.
It's mush.
It's mush. Now, sadly, this is how my mother served them growing up. This is why I didn't like them. So they're kind of gray blobs. Yeah. So here's what you do. You drain them really well, throw them in a food processor.
Okay.
And then you're going to puree that, or you could use that handheld blender.
I thought you were going to throw them in a frying pan and add some bacon. No?
In your dreams. Anyway, so the reason this works is that you're going to puree it, and then you're going to, actually my husband said that he likes this so much better because I cooked them on too much on purpose. You're adding a little bit of butter, a little bit of cream, and a whole lot of parm.
Ooh, I'm back with you. Okay.
Okay, and then you puree that up, you serve it, and you tell everybody you got the recipe online from BBC. Okay, here we go. And that's it. Or you could serve it wearing a funny hat.
You got to put on the funny hat.
There you go.
There you go.